meeting tonight. Appreciate everyone's working with us. Ask that everyone remains on mute unless you're being part of the direct conversation, just to keep flow going. And again, as soon as the clock strikes 6:30, I'll commence. Great to see everybody. Great to see all of our friends at the Joe Botash conference room, town hall, and everybody else. Okay, time 6:30, and let the meeting commence. Tuesday, April 21st, 2026, previously posted with the town clerk on April 16th, 2026. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, the Tuesday, April 21st, 2026, 6:30 public meeting of the Wrentham Select Board shall be conducted remotely. Public is invited to join via Zoom. Login information is on the town website. As a preliminary matter, this is Select Board Chair Chris Gallo. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond to the affirmative. We'll start with Selectman Jim Anderson.
Anderson here.
Selectman Bill Harrington.
Harrington here.
Selectwoman Michelle Rouse.
Is here.
And Selectman Roy Lamoth.
Lamoth here.
Fantastic. Staff, when I call your name, please respond to the affirmative. Town Manager Mike King.
Present.
Assistant Town Manager Greg Enos is on vacation. We wish him the best, relaxing vacation with his family. And Executive Assistant Amanda Vazzapolo.
Present.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Okay. We're going to bounce around a little bit this evening, folks, but let's start with the announcements, and we'll ask Selectman Harrington to read the announcements into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Announcements for April 24th Select Board meeting. The Department of Public Works began hydrant flushing on April 12th. Customers are advised that a drop in pressure and some discoloration of the water may occur while flushing is in progress. If this occurs, you should wait until we are out of the area, then run your cold water for several minutes and should clear up. See the website for street schedule and more details. Real estate and personal property tax bills are due May 4th. Residents can pay in person, online, or by mail. Spring hours, April 15th through April 28th, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Gates close at 3, Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's the hours for the recycling center, which I might add looks fantastic. They did a real nice job prepping that new area for the recycling and yard waste. Enbridge is hosting an open house meeting regarding the AGT enhancement project. This will be an opportunity to speak with Federal Energy and Regulatory Commission and Algonquin representatives Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026 at Lake Pearl, 299 Creek Street, 4:30 to 6:30. Read more on the town website. Wrentham Police and Fire will be teaming up on ice against Norfolk Police and Fire on Saturday, April 25th at 12 p.m. at the Norfolk Ice Arena. Admittance is free. Come support our local public safety. That's it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Selectman Harrington. Let's go to tab 2, which is approval of the minutes. In our packet, we have the April 7th, 2026 open session meeting minutes. At this time, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the Tuesday, April 7th, 2026 open session meeting minutes.
So
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Selectman Anderson.
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. As I said, folks, just a quick reminder, we're going to bounce around on the agenda a little bit. Let me know if I forget something. And of course, keep me on track during the public hearings. As you know, I love those. And we will go to the first order of business. We're going to actually go to new business, and we're going to go to tab 5, right? The special election. Correct, Mr. King?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So please go to tab 5, and we have the supporting documentation in our packets. This is a vote to call for the June 15, 2026 special election for the Roderick Elementary School debt exclusion, and vote to insert the question into the ballot. We have town council motion in our packet, and we have to do 5 separate motions that are all on the next page, and they have to be done separately. Before I go to the motions, does anyone on the board have any questions? So, Mr. King, do you have any further instructions for us?
I'll just add that there will be an article on the June 1st town meeting warrant in that for this project to go forward with a debt exclusion, but it needs to be ratified with a ballot vote, which in this case will be on June 15th.
All right. Okay. So thank you for that additional information. Everyone go to tab 6, go to page 16 in your packets. And at this time, I'm going to read the 5 motions and we're going to vote on them separately, one by one. This time, Chair will entertain a motion that a special town meeting be called for June 15, 2026 for the purpose of a special election to vote on a question relative to debt exclusion under Proposition 2.5.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Lamothe, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Anderson's yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Motion number 2. This time, Chair will entertain a motion that the warrant be opened for the insertion of questions.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Motion made by Selectman Lamothe, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Motion number 3. Chair will entertain a motion of the select board by 2/3 vote to seek voter approval at a special election to exclude from the provisions of general law, Chapter 59, Section 21, the funds required for the payment of principal and interest on bonds, note, or certification of indebtedness.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Lamothe. Any further discussion? I apologize. Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Motion number 4, that the select board seek voter approval at a special election to be held on June 15, 2026 to exempt from the provisions of general laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C, the funds required for payment of principal and interest on bonds, notes, or certificates of indebtedness, all as set forth in the following question 1.
So
Do I have,
moved.
Mike, hold on one sec, Jimmy. Mike, do I have to read question 1?
Yes, you do, Mr. Chair.
Okay, sorry, hold on, Jimmy.
Yep.
All is set forth in the following question 1. Here's question 1. Ballot question. Shall the town of Wrentham be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2 1/2, so-called the amounts required to pay for the bonds issued in order to pay costs of planning, design, and constructing, equipping, and furnishing a new elementary school to replace the existing Roderick Elementary School located at 120 Taunton Street in Wrentham, Massachusetts, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto? And there's a yes or a no. So Jimmy,
So
you
moved.
ready to make? Okay, is there a second? Motion made by second by Selectman Lamothe. Motion made by Selectman Anderson, just to clarify. Second by Selectman Lamothe. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. And the last motion, motion number 5, that the warrant for the special election to be held on June 15, 2026 is closed and notice hereof be transmitted to the town clerk. All in favor voted this 21st day of April, 2026, the Wrentham Select Board.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you for everybody with that. Okay, with that being said, we're very fortunate to have with us. We're going to go to our public hearing, which is tab number 3, our first of 2 public hearings. We're going to go to tab 3. We're very fortunate to have with us a wonderful group of people that does amazing work for the town. When we're talking about our sweat fund committee and our sweat fund requests. You know, as many people know, we have an amazing benefactor, Mr. Sweat, who gave a substantial amount of money to the town of Wrentham. And we have a wonderful group of people, volunteers, many of whom or all of whom are sitting in the Joe Botash conference room that do a great job every year fielding requests for solicitation of requests for the funds that we have available to give out on an annual basis. These people, I'll name them just because I think that's appropriate. The Sweat Fund Advisory Committee members are Chris Roman, Greg Pazurchik, Joyce Baldiga, Bill Carr, and Shyla Duffy. And they're with us this evening to run through a high-level summary with our board, what they've spent so much time and energy doing this season with the sweat funds. In our packet, we have the public hearing notice and the sweat fund advisory committee recommendations. So before we get going, at this time, the chair would entertain a motion to open the public hearing for the sweat fund requests.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Gallo is a yes. Selectman Lamothe.
Yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Anderson.
Anderson's a yes.
Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. This time, chair would entertain a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing notice.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. So now the public hearing's open. We're going to hear from, I'm going to pass it over in a minute to the Sweat Fund Advisory Board. Don't let me forget to ask for public comment because this is a public hearing, and then we'll close and vote. So I'd like to welcome again, I'd like to welcome our Sweat Fund Advisory Committee. I want to again thank you for all your hard work. I know we have a lot of information in our packet, a summary page that you're going to walk us through right now. And I do want to call out a special recognition for Greg Pazurchik and Joyce Baldiger. Someone told me that, and I don't want to assume anything because assumptions get you in trouble, but I was told that this could be the last round of Sweat Fund meetings or hearings that Greg and Joyce are going to be doing with us.
That would be correct.
So
Correct.
on behalf of me and my board, I would just like to thank you for your dedicated years of service, Greg and Joyce. You've been doing this a lot longer than I've been doing this. And I remember my first year when I was a new selectman with Joe Botash as the chair. Joe said it and I'll say it. You guys do a great job for the community and we couldn't do this without you. So appreciate you all, and a special shout out to Greg and Joyce. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to, I believe Chris Roman's running the meeting.
Yes. Thank you, Chairman Gallo. Mike, do we need to reopen this meeting? We opened before the public, our side of it.
Yeah, you're going to want to open it on Zoom.
Great,
So I would
okay.
recommend you open it now.
All right, so a motion to open the meeting?
So, second,
Great. All right,
we've got Greg Pazurchik,
oh, Chris Roman,
yes. Bob Carr.
Shyla Duffy.
and we do have a guest with us tonight, Mary, who is potentially going to be, we are going to be looking for additional members because with Joyce and Greg not renewing this coming year, we will need 2 more members. And so Mary is joining us tonight.
Welcome. Great to have you all. Welcome. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. All right, so all of you should have in front of you the recommendations that we have gone through. We had 4 meetings prior to this. One of those meetings where we met with all of the requesters of funds from the fund. And we had a total of 13 requests this year that were made. We had available to us from the fund itself, from the payout this year, $60,737. We had a little bit of funding in the sub-accounts of $907. We also recouped a certain amount of funding. We'll talk about that as we go through the exhibits on this page. So the first request came from the Council of Aging. It is a recurring request that they will typically make to fund the various programs that they have. The requested amount was for $8,000, and we recommend $8,000. The second one was the Cultural Council, and that was for the Old Fisk Museum, doing some additional archiving of their storage in there. They had made a request last year, I believe it was, and this was a new request that kind of made sense. They requested $1,000. We suggest that there was still funds available, as you can see in Exhibit A, from a previous activity that was no longer, the funds were no longer needed from that. So we said bring across $292.57 from that account. And so the amount that we're approving for this is $707.43 from the fund itself. The third request was from the public library, third and fourth requests. These are also recurring requests. And they had requested specifically for the children's programs, $4,810, all of which we recommend. And then the museum passes that we know get used every year for $3,480. We also recommend that those funds be granted. The next request came from the nurses. They have two requests. One was for blood pressure machines that they wound up getting a grant, so they no longer needed that. So that was for $1,200. They don't need that. But then the other request was for the nutritional supplements. That's for $2,000, and we did recommend that get also taken from the fund. And then in the open spaces, there was a submission put in by them. Now they had funds still existing in their account, so they actually didn't need any funding. They didn't ask for it, but they put the submission in because they wanted to let us know they'd be using the funds that we had given them last year, this year, and not to forget about them. Greg?
Yeah, the next request is from Recreation for Concerts on the Common. It's an annual request, and they asked for the maximum they can ask for, $9,999. We split that one up. We had some funding available from another account, which is Exhibit B of
Picnic benches.
eight, two, what was that one?
Picnic tables. It was for the picnic tables. I think.
Oh, I'm going, yeah, from the picnic tables that were, they were originally gonna be used at the Roderick School. We contacted the school, and they, with all that's going on there, they're not gonna need the picnic tables at this time, so we're gonna reallocate that money for Concerts on the Common, a good part of it. Or all of that. Yeah, the other one came from that other table.
Yep.
Okay, so it's split between $28.82 from the trust and $9,970.18 for a total of $9,999. Then we had a request for a recreation vehicle, $9,999. We did not recommend that. We've given vehicle before. The way the funding was this year, we didn't feel it was within our capabilities to allocate all that. So we did not recommend it. One other request from Recreation was for Wrentham Day events. It was explained to us how it's going to be a much bigger event this year, and that they could use some funding. They asked for $9,500. We did vote to recommend $4,250. partially supporting that request. Then we had a request from the town of $1,205.55 for a portable speaker system. And we did recommend $339.97 from the trust. And we did have an additional $865.58 under Exhibit C, which was one other table that was left over from a program of remodeling, redoing the basketball court at the Roderick School. And they had funding left over for another picnic table there, which we recuperated and reallocated for this project. Holiday lighting, $9,999 for the town of Wrentham. We recommended that. Then we had a request from the fire department for new equipment in the water and ice rescue equipment. The past equipment, the hovercraft is getting pretty old and parts are getting hard to come by. This is more modern equipment, much easier to use. And we felt very strongly that should be recommended. However, we also had a Chief Marino let us know that they had a request in for a grant from the state. That is still in the process. I guess they've gotten some partial funding for the project, but we did feel it was necessary to go ahead and allocate the money he requested and have it be there as needed if the grant doesn't cover everything they need. So, and anything we've talked to the chief and anything that's left over that they won't need will be reallocated next year for some other project.
All right, and then
Yeah, you're gonna
I was
finish
gonna say,
up.
the last two, the Wrentham Landscape Committee, they have they have a new request specifically for irrigation on the common. That request was for $9,063. We understand that there may be some recurring expenses for maintenance of blowing out the system and all that needs to occur. But we did recommend that the funding go towards that. And this year, the Landscape Commission asked for far less than they usually ask for. And as many of you know, one of the main things that William Sweat asked for in his will, as far as how the money would be spent, would be on the trees and the town common and other things like that. So we always take their requests very highly regarded. This year's request was only for $1,000, so of course we're approving that. We're expecting that we're going to need a fair amount of funding next year to be able to support their needs. But that essentially concluded the recommended amounts that we have here of $52,894. And we're suggesting that we add $8,750 back into the sub account to address the potential need next year with the Landscape Committee and other things that would come up next year. The requests were actually a little lower this year than we typically have. So we can expect they're probably going to go up again next year, and we know that money is tight, and it's important to have that funding there. So these are our recommendations. You see fit to use them as you see fit, of course, Chairman Gallo, and the rest of the chairman, or rest of the selectmen, and we like doing this. It's our public duty, so we appreciate the opportunity also.
Great. Thank you so much for that great presentation, Chris. I know we have a lack of time here, but you touched on it quickly. For the people listening, for the record, can you just state, the general intent of Mr. Sweat, why he left these funds behind and what his intent was besides landscaping and those things? Just because people always ask us, what are sweat funds? What constitutes a good, ask and what constitutes not a good ask? So just really quickly, I just think Mr. Sweat in your group deserves for the public to understand.
Absolutely. We all have studied the will and understand his intent. And back in 1931, 95 years ago, he established this trust and left it to the town to essentially do things for the town that would beautify the town, that would make it presentable, and also provide funding for things that maybe the town funding itself, the taxpayers wouldn't normally pay for. that were beneficial to the town as a whole. And so you see us supporting things like the 350th celebration, or various recreation department activities like the concerts on the Common, or of course the trees and other things like that. And so as we're sitting here, we look through these requests and we think about what's being asked for. We think about it with that in mind, with that intent in mind of what he wanted the funds used for. He loved this town, and so that donation many years ago has continued to serve the community quite well. And the first one that was done was actually the Sweat Park that's across the street from the town common there, and that took a fair number of years apparently to get started. I guess there was a hurricane, some other things that came through at the time, but
And a depression.
oh yeah, that I wasn't around. Sorry. But,
Hey, I was. They might have thought about me then.
Thank you so much for that quick summary. I just think it's important to make sure that we don't forget, why we have this awesome opportunity every year. And at this time, I'm going to open it up to the board members. Board members, please feel free to go ahead, raise your hand and just ask any questions, make any comments you have before I open it up to the public. Any board members have any questions that they'd like to ask or comments? Selectman Anderson, go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I just want to thank the Sweat Fund Committee for all the work they do. They do a great job vetting out all the requests. And I know it makes sometimes difficult decisions as far as how to allocate that money. But I've always noticed that all my time in the town of Wrentham, they always do a tremendous job. So thank you.
Well said.
Well said.
Roy, go ahead, Selectman Lamoff.
Yeah, being the new guy on the block, I was just wondering, are we using any principals or just a certain amount per year of income and interest?
no, there's no principal being used. It is entirely what we're able to get out of the fund each year. So if the economy goes up and goes down, the funding changes every year.
Fantastic. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great question, Roy. Anybody else? No? You're good, Selectman Harrington? Good. Okay, great. Public, members of the public, would anyone like to address the group? If you do, please raise your hand, state your name and address. If you can, turn your camera on and you'll have 2 minutes to speak. Anybody from the public would like to address the Sweat Committee regarding sweat funds? I'll give it a few seconds. Sometimes people need a minute to raise that hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. At this time, Chair would entertain a motion to close a public hearing for sweat fund requests.
So moved.
So moved.
So a motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Gallows, a yes. Selectman Lamoff.
Lamoth, yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Rouse.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Public hearing is now closed. Now, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the sweat fund monies requested as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Selectman Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Once again, Sweat Fund Advisory Group, excellent job. Greg and Joyce, we'll miss you. And the rest of the group, we'll see you next year. All right?
Thank you.
We
Thank you so
do
much.
need more members. I'm just going to say that Joyce was here for 37 years, and that's 38 years actually out of the 45 this has existed. So
Wow.
And hold on a sec. Before you go, Mike, they have to close their meeting, right? Mr. King,
I would have them close it on Zoom.
please close your meeting on Zoom, Chris.
all right, so I motion to close the meeting.
Second, I vote to do it.
Okay, anybody object?
No.
All right, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a great evening. See you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, moving on. We're going to go to our next public hearing, which is tab 4. Let me just get my bearings. I apologize. Mike King has me bouncing around tonight, and I'm a little unsure. So, okay, tab 4. this public hearing, the 6:40 public hearing, is the discussion and vote for the vote by mail VBM for the June 15, 2026 special town election. With us, we have our esteemed town clerk, Ann Fisk, documentation in our packet relating to the public hearing notice, and the Board of Registrar meeting minutes. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to open the public hearing for the vote by mail for the June 15, 2026 special town election.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now, Chair would entertain a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing notice.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Lamoth. Did I do that wrong?
Yes.
Did I
No,
do that
good.
right? Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Public hearing's now open. Mr. King, you're looking at me like I may have missed something. Is everything going according to plan thus far? for
I'm
this?
following along and it's going fine.
Okay, thank you. Mike King is like, sometimes it's like my dad, even though he's a lot younger than me, giving me that look that I've done something wrong. So I like to check in every once in a while. Ann Fisk, great to have you with us. You're doing a fantastic job. Do you mind bringing the board through what we're trying to accomplish this evening at this public hearing?
Hi, sure, I'd be glad to. So there's two types of early voting. The first type is in-person early voting. And in that regard, the Votes Act of 2022 established the Board of Registrars votes whether to recommend that to the Board of Selectmen, Select Board. And in this case, for this election, for the June 15th special town election, the Board of Registrars voted to not recommend it to the board. Therefore, there's no further action the Select Board can take at this time regarding in-person early voting. So that's the side. That's the first part of the meeting minutes. The primary reason you're discussing this is to discuss whether the Select Board wants to vote by mail early voting, which is very similar to absentee voting by mail, which we already have. We've continually had that. So
Okay.
as I've mentioned last time we discussed this, the board reviewed the pros and cons and the added expenses for any potential additional voters and determined that we don't feel that it brings additional voters to, it just comes as a wash. The voters may vote early voting by mail rather than coming in person. And we do have the polls open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on election day. We also make it available so if anyone has any possibility of not being able to make it to the polls, they can vote absentee in person or by mail with us. And we also have accommodations for any folks that are permanently disabled. They can get a note from their doctor, and their permanently voter can vote by mail through the town clerk's office. And that's annually continued. It's continuous once it's established. So we work to accommodate anyone who cannot reasonably make it to the polls on election day already without early voting by mail for a local election.
Okay. So what is your recommendation to us?
So the board voted unanimously to not recommend early voting by mail for the special town election on June 15th.
Okay. I'm going to open it up to the board members. Anyone have any questions or comments?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Or go ahead, Selectman Harrington.
So each year that I've been on the board, which is 4 now, we have the same basic discussions that it's expensive and requires a lot of additional time. What is the expense related? How much are you talking about, and how much additional time? Because again, as I have in the past, I voted to make any opportunity for the public to have any option they should be able to.
I don't have the exact number because we haven't done it in a while since COVID, vote by mail, but generally other towns have found it to be $60 to $80 per ballot. Vote by mail with the timing. It varies. There's a lot more staffing involved. Vote by mail is less intensive than in-person voting, but it's covered by absentee voting by mail. If anyone has any concern they can't get there in person, they can vote absentee. We're not required to get any kind of doctor's note or anything if someone wants to vote by mail. I don't have current data since we haven't done it in several years.
So we don't really know what the expense is, and we still don't want to do it.
it's not fiscally responsible to do it.
Okay.
And I hear that
But we
constantly.
don't,
Trying
but
to be
again, we don't know,
conscious.
but we
Do me
don't have a dollar amount.
just one sec though, Bill,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, questions through me as always.
Yep, I'm sorry.
And Ann, please, the same thing. Direct your questions to the chair. And I think she did answer the question, Bill. I think other towns estimated $60 to $80 a ballot, if I heard town clerk correctly.
Okay,
Was
thank you.
the estimation.
Yeah. If I say Chair Gallo, I also agree. I don't want to, and I don't want to eliminate any possible voter from voting. And I wouldn't recommend to not do this if I thought that was the case. I think you're just going to have people vote by mail rather than going to the polls or absentee voting. It's not going to increase the voters. I mean, if you want us to go door by door with like a boatmobile bus, we could do that if you want to really increase the voters, some kind of outreach. But this case is not going to increase the total.
All right. Thank you, town clerk, and thank you, Selectman Harrington. Selectman Lamar.
Chris, this is the second year I've heard this, and I guess it's been going on year after year. I'm just wondering why we continue to do this, or we're continued to force to do this every year. Is there another way around this so that we can do it by exception if in such case there was another COVID environment and we chose to go with mail-in ballots as a result of special circumstances, or do we continue to get into this loop every year? Is there a way around this?
I'll let town clerk Ann Fisk answer that.
This is a process established by the Votes Act of 2022 that we need to do this for every local election.
In 2022 because of COVID?
The Votes Act of 2022 that's established early voting by mail and early voting in person for state elections permanently also had these caveats for the local elections that every year the select board need to review early voting by mail.
Okay.
And vote on it.
So Roy, it looks like we have to unfortunately have this conversation every year.
Go ahead. Yep, got it.
Anybody else have anything to add? Selectwoman Rouse or Selectman Anderson?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, this time, because it's a public hearing and I don't want to forget to let the public speak. Anyone in the public like to make a comment? Please do so. Raise your hand, state your name and address for the record. Please come on camera and we'll give you 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes. You don't need 2 minutes, but you have them. Few seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. This time, Chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing for vote by mail for the June 15, 2026 special town election.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Second motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now, listen carefully. Chair would entertain a motion to opt out of the vote by mail for the June 15th, 2026 special election.
So moved.
Second.
Is there okay? Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, no.
Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes.
Yeah.
Motion carries 4-1. I did that math right. 4-1. Okay. Ann Fisk, I want to thank you. Great job you're doing. Thank you for being on the meeting tonight. And thank you to the select board members for a great conversation. Okay, let's move on. Now, if I am reading this correctly, we're going to go to tab number 7. Tab number 7 is an interview and appointment to the Board of Registrars. With us, we have 3 representatives, 3 people interested in running for this. We have Stephen King. We have Teresa
Guglielmi.
Thank you. Guglielmi?
Guglielmi.
Guglielmi. Is that Italian? Better be.
Williams in Italian.
Okay. Well, thank you. And Jean Matilla? Is that correct?
So actually, Jean was replaced with Laura Beltis, and I'm Laura Beltis.
Oh, I'm sorry, Laura. You're right. It was on my packet, but not on the. I apologize, Laura. So Laura Beltis. What we're gonna do, folks, is we're gonna interview Stephen King, Teresa, and Laura, and then We have an email from Julie Garland, who's the chair of the Democratic Committee, in the packet as well. Let me just get to that letter really quickly. There's really nothing here to read into the record. It just says there's 3 qualified registered Democrats for the Board of Registrars appointment, gives their names and addresses, and inviting them to this meeting. So at this time, the select board has had an opportunity to review the applications, and we're gonna start asking some questions. We're gonna start, just because it's in this order, no order, it's just in my packet this way. Stephen King, are you with us this evening?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Stephen. How you doing this evening?
Very good, thanks. It's actually
Fantastic.
Stefan. No worries
Oh,
though.
it's Stefan.
Yes,
I
you got it.
apologize.
Yeah,
Thank you for correcting me.
no problem.
So Stefan, would you mind explaining a little bit about yourself to the board and why you think you're such a great candidate for this?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I heard about the opportunity. Um, and yeah, I wanted to step up and see if it might be a good fit. So, my background is in software, specifically for the past many years, the data side of software. So I think there's a lot of parallels between the work that I do and the responsibilities of the board members on the board of registrars, just around accuracy, particularly around accuracy, uh, safe handling of data, uh, and yeah.
Great, fantastic. Open it up. I'm going to open it up to the board members just so we can ask some questions. We typically do that, Stefan.
No problem.
Starting with, I'm going to start with Selectman Anderson. He's our go-to question person.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Stefan, how do you see your role if you get on this board?
It's a good question. I don't really know what to expect in terms of the day-to-day duties. But certainly I'm there to help out, follow the procedures, understand the procedures of the role. I think that's probably one of the most important parts of the role. Take the direction from the town clerk and certainly offer my expertise in helping to optimize, streamline some of the processes if possible, obviously to the letter of the law. Uh, Potentially modernize. I work a lot in advanced computer systems and a lot of, high volume data situations that are, uh, you know, folks are making business decisions on. So however I can translate some of that expertise to this role, I would do so. But fundamentally, really just learn about the role, offer whatever I can, and follow the procedures would be the fundamental parts.
Okay, thank you, Stefan.
No problem.
We're going to jump. Selectwoman Rouse, any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Stefan, thank you for your introduction and answering Select Board Member Anderson's question. Through you, Mr. Chair, can we ask Ann Fisk to give us a little overview for clarity in terms of the responsibilities of this position, in terms of time commitment and what actually will be required, so that people listening and people that are going for this position have a good understanding of that?
Selectwoman Rouse, that's a fantastic idea.
Thank you.
Ann Fisk, please.
Sure, I'd be glad to. Thank you for including me. So this is not a partisan position at all. It is dictated by the state law that there should be a balance or a mixture of parties represented in the process to ask the town party committees to appoint people to be appointed to the board when there's openings. But the position itself has no partisan opportunities at all. It's just helping us keep the voter rolls accurate and maintain them on a daily basis as we do to make sure our voter rolls are correct. The board of registrars also would oversee any kind of audit or recount if that were to happen with me. But that's probably the least likely thing that would happen. Most likely you come into the office 1 or 2 times a month during office hours and help us process the voter rolls, which is often the vast majority of duplicates. You make sure everything's accurate. People want to change their voters party or they get married, they change their name, keep things accurate and as current as possible, following the state law, which requires us to have a written signature to remove someone from the voter rolls. So there's a lot of complicated processes to make sure the voter rolls are current, but also kept in compliance with state law. And it's a very detailed kind of mundane process to check the data. And then you also maintain our paper filing system where we have paper cards for every voter. So in case anything should happen to the database, we have a redundant system of our voter records to rebuild the system from scratch if we had to. So that's literally pulling cards and filing cards as well as sending out notifications to voters of any changes. Occasionally you have to call a voter to clarify something, or call like a management company to clarify an address, that kind of thing. So it's fairly administrative. This database we work with is about 25 years old. Legacy system. We have no control over it right now as far as optimizing or improving it, but they are planning to roll out a new one next year. So that you'll learn the system, then you'll be learning another system next year, which hopefully is built on this, but more like in a Windows environment, more modern than what we have currently. You also may help with voter registration days. We have those once before every town meeting election, as well as for other special events. That's usually 10 days before an election or town meeting. We have a voter registration day at the library. Any other questions or things you think we do? Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I was just wondering if there was any conflict of interest that has ever occurred or written policy we have for these members.
Elaborate, like who conflict of interest with who?
If they were doing some other type of role or activity or involved in certain activities beyond, being on this committee.
Are you asking if we've ever run into a conflict of interest situation?
Yes.
Ann Fisk, do you know the answer to that question?
I don't believe so, but board registrar members cannot be on many other committees. There's very few other committees they can serve on. We actually, the one who was appointed last year had resigned from Open Space Committee because you cannot be on other town committees. You're allowed to be a town meeting member, so you can go to town meeting and vote at town meeting, but it's very restricted to what other things you can serve the town as. Also, you cannot sign nomination papers. So you would, if you want to be personally active in a campaign or a petition, you would probably not be able to do that. You'd have to contact the state ethics committee about that.
It's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, great question. And thank you, Ann Fisk. Selectwoman Rouse, two parts. Any further questions to Town Clerk Ann Fisk? And then any questions to Stefan King?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ann, for that great clarification and information. Stefan, after hearing that information from Ann, is this something that provided more direction to you in terms of what's responsible for the position, and are you interested in it?
For sure. Yeah, it tracks with the general understanding I had of the role. Yeah, definitely interested in helping out. I am not part of any other committee in town. I am interested in helping out. Well, I am actually co-chair along with Laura of Keep Wrentham Beautiful, but it's not a town committee. So I don't think there's a conflict of interest there, but really looking to figure out, the right role for me to help out within the town. And again, given my expertise in data systems, I thought this was a good point to dive in and see how it might go.
Great. Thank you very much. No further questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great job. Selectman Anderson went. Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So thank you, Stefan, for willingness to step up. Through you, Mr. Chair, how many positions are open for the three candidates? There's just the one spot? Okay. I don't know. I must have missed that. I apologize.
Solamente uno.
Okay. And now you just confused me.
Sorry about
that. Geez. But at any rate, I appreciate you, take your willingness to help out, and certainly have a good wealth of knowledge in that electrical engineering field. Thank you.
And feel free, Selectman Harrington, if I apologize that I screwed you up. If you think what you wanted to say, come back in.
I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, sir. Selectman Lamothe.
Stefan, thank you for stepping up. No further questions.
Okay, great. Stefan, thank you so much. We're going to move to Teresa at this point, and we'll be back in touch shortly. Teresa, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So thanks for being here with us. And now that you kind of have a better understanding, hopefully, of what the job entails, I'd first just like to ask you to give us just some rough information about yourself. And then, as I did before, I'll open it up to my fellow board members to ask any specific questions that anyone might have. So the floor is yours.
I work full time at a large law firm. I have over 30 years experience in the legal field. I work as a legal assistant. I've worked public service for the federal government, and I worked at big law firms, worked for judges, lawyers, public, and I've lived in Wrentham for about 14 years.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. I'm going to open it up to the board members, starting with, we're going to go in reverse. Selectman Lamoth, you're up.
Well, thank you, Teresa, for stepping up and being here 14 years now, getting involved. I love 30 years in the legal environment. I have no questions. I think you may be a good candidate. It's great.
Okay. Selectman Harrington, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, very impressive resume you have. Appreciate your willingness to step up, and that's all.
Thank you.
Great job. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Teresa, like I asked Stefan, if we were to put you into that role, how do you see it playing out?
It sounds a lot of what I do for work and have done for many, many years is what you need done. It's a lot of administrative work, listening to other people, making sure things are accurate, dealing with the public, helping the community. And yeah, so.
Okay, thank you.
Are you all set, Selectman Anderson?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great. And Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Teresa, very nice to meet you. Thank you for being here tonight. Just to kind of tap into what Select Board Anderson was saying, I'd love to hear a little bit more about what makes you uniquely qualified compared to the other individuals vying for this position.
Well, I would say a lot of what Anne described was working together as a team in an office type environment with sensitive documentation and handling it in a way that you have to be careful and thoughtful. And I've been trained in that. I even was, when she mentioned the old school filing, I've been trained in that. So I've been doing it for many years, and I don't think it would be anything that I wouldn't easily catch on to or understand what we needed to do.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. No further questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, last but certainly not least is Laura. Laura Beltis, I apologize for the snafu earlier. Welcome to the meeting, Laura. I'm going to ask you the same thing that we asked the other two applicants. Please give me just a quick introduction of yourself and your interest in the position, and I'll open it up to the other board members. Welcome.
Hi, yes. So just a little bit about me. I have lived in Wrentham for about 5 years now. I have 2 young kids in the school system, so I've been a stay-at-home caretaker for 6 years now. I currently work part-time taking care of my mother-in-law. She has a disability. I'm her personal care assistant, so I do have time available to devote to this. I have an actuarial background, so I'm a fellow of the Society of Actuaries, and I have a master's in mathematics. I worked for over 10 years as an actuary. Most of that time was spent in what's called reserving and regulatory reporting for a health insurance company. I led a team there. Our main responsibility was to work with private healthcare data, analyze that data, and estimate medical expenses that were then recorded for the financial company, for the finances. Those estimates totaled hundreds of millions of dollars, so I'm comfortable working with material numbers and data sets. And now I view this as an opportunity to give back to the town. So I know the registrar isn't actuarial in nature, but it does require a strong attention to detail, which I do have. I'm fortunate that both my kids are in school full time, so I have more time to devote to this. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that information. We'll start with Selectman Lamoth again from the board.
Well, I love the mathematics background and the attention to detail, and the fact that you're dedicating yourself to your mother-in-law and your kids. That's great, or your mother. So, but no questions. I mean, you're a great candidate.
Fantastic. Well said. Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, very, very impressive background. Again, I appreciate you your willingness to step up, and I'm going to leave that difficult question to answer to Selectman Anderson.
Selectman Anderson, you're up and on the spot.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Laura, I want to thank you for stepping up to offering to volunteer. Like to ask the other two candidates, you just give us a reason why you think, or what you think your role would be in this position.
Yeah, I know I'm one of those weird people that loves a good spreadsheet. So when Anne was talking about having to kind of go through old cards and work with an antiquated system, I've done that. I've been there, and I get joy out of doing that kind of thing. So yeah. And regarding audits, I've been the point person with the state and federal government with questions about audits. I fielded those, so I'm comfortable with that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you, Laura. No further questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Selectman Anderson. And last but certainly not least, Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Laura, nice to see you. I think Jim has eloquently asked the question and you've provided the information. No further questions from me at this point.
Okay, so now we have to make a difficult decision, board. I was just making sure I wasn't muted. Now we have to make a difficult decision. In my humble opinion, we have three very qualified, very good candidates. And the town's lucky to have all three of you for this position. But unfortunately, there's only one. So whoever. I will say this though: if you don't get put on this position, this committee, I strongly recommend doing something else, which I'm sure this group of people will. You seem like all very good go-getters. So, do any board members? Does anyone want to make? It's a difficult decision, but does anyone want to make a recommendation? I know typically I look to Selectman Anderson in this situation. He's been, with us the longest, so I like to give him an opportunity if he has an opinion, or if not, I can move on and ask one of the other board members.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I agree. I do think that we've got three very qualified candidates. I do think it's a shame we can only pick one, but I do like Teresa's background in law. So I would make a motion to appoint Teresa, is it Guglielmi?
Oops.
Is it Teresa Guglielmi?
He's unmuting.
Sorry, it's Guglielmi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Guglielmi.
No, it's a hard one to say.
Sorry. But I would make the recommendation to appoint her.
And I second.
Is there, okay, so I had a motion made by Selectman Anderson. I had a second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Gallows, a yes. Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Anderson's a yes.
Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations. Thank you both, Stefan and Laura, for being here this evening. So the motion, let me just make sure I read the motion the right way, because I see Mike King looking at me with those eyes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I would entertain a motion to appoint Teresa Guillerme
We're going to
with
say
proper
it.
pronunciation.
We can say it all together. It's Guglielmi.
Guglielmi
There
to
you
the Board
go.
of Registrars for a term effective immediately and expiring on March 31st, 2029.
So
Thank
moved.
you.
Thank you for amending that, Selectman Anderson. Selectman Lamoth is a second, right, Selectman Lamoth? And let's just do the roll call vote one more time. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Gallows, a yes. Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Rouse.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Ann Fisk, do they need to be sworn in to see you?
Hi, yes, congratulations. Come by and get sworn in with to schedule your training and some IT setup and look at scheduling during
All
the.
right, Teresa. So get in touch with Ann Fisk and go get sworn in. And thank you and welcome. And hopefully we don't have to appoint you to another board soon because I still won't get your name right. So have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, you too.
All right, thanks. Okay, let's move it on. We keep going here. We're gonna go to tab number 8. This is a standard junk antique renewal that we do every year. In our packets, we have the junk and antique license renewals, East Street Antiques, and my grandmother had that. In our packet, we can see that everything is tidy and it's in order. It wouldn't be in our packet if it wasn't such. So I'm going to just quickly ask if any of the board members have any questions or comments for myself or Mike King. Please speak up before we can just make the motion and proceed. Anybody? No, shaking the head. No, everyone's good. So at this time, Chair will entertain a motion to renew the junk/antique licenses for East Street Antiques located at 242 East Street. And my grandmother had that antiques located at 446 South Street.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, great job, everybody. Let's go to tab number 9. Okay, so tab number 9 is just a quick discussion on the board committee commission reappointment process. Mike King, do you want to give us a little bit of flavor based on how the process last year was different than the process before and what applicants can expect, et cetera, et cetera?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this evening, I am looking to confirm guidance from the Select Board on reappointments to be effective July 1st, 2026. So if a similar process was to be utilized the last fiscal year, it would be as follows. So reappointment forms would be distributed to those individuals on boards, committees, and commissions with terms expiring June 30th, 2026, with the forms due to be returned by June 2nd. These notices would also be sent to the chairs of the boards, committees, and commissions as well, informing them of the process so that they can be aware and can share this information with their membership. All positions that are expiring will be posted on the town website with notices on social media so that interested individuals will have an opportunity to apply in addition to incumbents. If 2 or more individuals apply for an appointment, the Select Board would interview those candidates at its June 16th meeting. So that's a rough outline of what the process would look like, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Mr. King, thank you. And I'll just tag on to that I believe that was the board's intent last year when we tried to kind of streamline this process, that we just wanted it to be known that everybody needs to reapply and take this seriously. We don't believe in lifetime appointments. So, you have to make sure we know that you're still interested and why. And we also believe, that giving other people an opportunity on certain boards, I think is a healthy thing. Right, including our board, right? So I think that was one of the things that this board kind of charged Mike King with last year when we went through this process. Yeah, any of the board members have any comments on this or any questions for Mike King before we have him march forward?
Just one comment, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Selectwoman Rouse.
I just think also this process really helped transparency, and we saw much more interest in different positions with the openings being posted and new faces coming forward, wanting to get involved. So overall, I think it was a big plus for the community to enhance participation and to give others chance to get involved.
Right. No, and to your point, it's one of our strategic goals at this board to increase, resident interest in these positions. So we took it upon ourselves, based on some flat numbers in the past and we made it a goal and an objective for this board and to funnel through Mike King, our town manager, and the whole, all the employees in town, and we want the residents to know that we want as many people involved as possible. That's what makes a town healthy. So Mike King, with that being said, you have your marching orders from the board. Do you have any further questions from us, or are you free to proceed?
No, that's helpful. So we'll follow a similar process as to last year.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move on. And the last thing under the new business is we're going to go to tab number 6. So with us, we have, I hope we have Mike McKnight with us. There he is. So with us, we have Mike McKnight. Mike, you're here this evening to kind of walk the select board through your perspective on the first annual town-sponsored candidate event. With that being said, I'll give the history here is that this select board charged Mike King, our town manager, to put together a committee and to carry out a town-sponsored event. This was a goal from way before I was on the select board. Joe Botash and I talked about this when I was running for select board. He mentioned to me that the town used to be much more involved in the town elections. And then for whatever reason, we kind of moved away from that. And again, tied into this board's goal of transparency and civic engagement with the Wrentham voters, we charged Mike King with putting a team together. He did. And Mike McKnight was the moderator of the event for the town. From what I was told and what I witnessed, I think it was overall a very successful event. But I want to hear from Mike McKnight's perspective. I want to hear from Mike King's perspective. And then I want to open it up to the select board members to see what you may have heard about the event. And we also are very lucky that we actually had a candidate who participated in the town's event with Michelle Rouse. So without further ado, Mr. McKnight, it's good to see you. And if I haven't said this in the past, thank you for your tenure of service as planning board chair. Town's indebted to you for that, and it's great to have you active in this role.
Thank you, Chair Gallo. Appreciate that. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you well, Mike. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So sure, appreciate this. I'm going to give a quick update on the town-sponsored event that we had for the candidate forum. And we think it was a pretty good success. We put together the committee, Mike King, Edmund Avasapolo, Chris Flum, Lauren White, and myself. We had a really good working group. We met essentially every week and worked through this since we were starting from scratch. Not many members had experienced this before, so I think it was a good opportunity to take a clean piece of paper and see what we wanted to do from this perspective, given the guardrails that the select board and Mike King had brought forward to us. Created a mission statement, which helped guide us as well. Really trying to make a nonpartisan event. People could be friendly. They could understand what the town was looking for, build engagement. That was another big key, get people out. I think all throughout the process, we talked to candidates and board chairs and others. One of the things that we really encouraged was we need more people to come out and come out to open positions. We need people to be on committees, to vote. So those messages were continually reinforced throughout the process. From a communication standpoint, we did an extensive candidate outreach, emails, phone calls, multiple times, follow-ups, whether it was to ask candidates to explain what the event is and asking them to attend, answering questions that they might have had, looking at logistics. It appears that outreach was pretty successful. I think on our survey, our post-mortem survey, we got a comment that some additional information about how the event was going to run before, whether it was for candidates and for residents, would have helped. Even though we explained what was happening, I think we could have done a better job with that. So we also reached out to board chairs, each one of the board chairs, and we wanted to go in front of those boards and their committees to let them know what the event was, really just kind of a public service event announcement about what we're doing and what we're able to do. We got some information from our town attorney that said you can go to boards as long as there is a public comment typically on the agenda. And so we were only able to go to the select board. We were able to go to I believe the the Wrentham School Committee board, but we were held out of the others because they didn't have that. Although I would say the KP School Committee, we were asked not to attend. They didn't want to mix politics with schoolwork, and so in deference to them, we did not go there. But I think we got the message out certainly through the board chairs. Many of them were willing to bring those up at the meeting and to send us questions that might have come up from any one of the members. We also reached out to key groups, Wrentham Business Collaborative. Mike King attended that one. Council on Aging. I attended that with Chris Flum. Lions board meeting. In addition, Lauren White did a great job of connecting with PTO West, Wrentham, SEPAC. And so we've got a number of different organizations where the message got out again in different forums. And then Mike King and Amanda did a great job of putting out town flyers, putting it on the town websites, and then as we got closer to the event, putting it up on the boards that we had available to us at the town hall, at the West Wrentham Fire Station, and then we had it up on some billboards that we had access to. So I think from a communication standpoint and outreach, we did a good job and got the message out there. From a forum attendance, candidates, we had a good turnout. We requested and asked that each person going up for election come out. We did not get Fisk Library candidates as they declined. And we chose to exclude candidates who pulled papers but didn't return them. And we had 2 candidates who wanted to attend the event but had previous commitments. And for those, they sent in a bio and the answers, they sent us responses to the questions that we actually read at the event. So we thought that was a good way for people who absolutely couldn't attend to be able to get their message across. And we got some good feedback on that. As far as the audience, we had about 40 residents in the Fisk Hill Library room. We thought that was a good turnout and pretty engaging, actually. We had time after the event for people to discuss with candidates if they didn't get to ask a question. So that worked pretty well. We felt Fisk Library did the job that we needed to do from a setup perspective. It was comfortable. It allowed enough chairs for people to be comfortable. It wasn't jam-packed. We probably could have added 20 more and really made it a tight room, but we didn't need to do that. And we were putting the message out there that could actually be viewed on cable 8 as well. So if people didn't attend, they could pick up the message. We felt the room seating, the way we had it set up in a V with tables up front so that both the candidate and the moderator would face the audience and could face each other. We thought that was good, although in our review of commentary in our postmortem, we thought that maybe a more comfortable seating, soft seating setup would be better than tables and chairs. So we took that back as some feedback. The questions that we were able to build, and I'll give credit to Chris Flum for initiating the questions that we had. But the whole committee worked on them, and we spent most of our time developing the questions, challenging the questions, editing the questions. And I think in the end, we had 5 questions per candidate that were meaningful, had some depth to them, and would help the residents in town be able to understand what a candidate's perspective on a number of issues were. We did send them in advance. We deliberated on that quite a bit as well. And we got good feedback from the candidates for sure, that having the questions help them to kind of coalesce their thoughts. What we would probably do next time, and we talked about this, is to hold back a question or 2 so that we could see how people think on their feet. That was kind of the feedback at our review meeting as well. As I mentioned, we did a postmortem. We went through and sent out a survey. So Amanda did a nice job putting together a survey, which we collected. Unfortunately, we didn't get as many responses as we had hoped, but we did get some valuable feedback. And so that in itself allowed us to put into the thought for next year some of the things that, we did okay, but we could probably do better on, or things that, maybe we missed on a little bit that we could include. A few of the things I've mentioned already, but there were a few other things that we got some feedback on. Having an active slide deck with updates in the background so that people could see more information about the candidate or the position would be helpful. We did set up the questioning by position open. So if it was school committee and there were 3 candidates, they sat in the room at the front of the room, and we asked them each question, the same question, and then went back and forth. So we thought that was good. But having more information about the position and or the candidates that are running, we thought would be helpful. We also thought that maybe providing some note sheets or some cheat sheets on the candidates would have been good, so people, while they're sitting there listening, could make their own notes and or look at the candidate's bio. We got a lot of feedback, and we tried to do this. I know at the when I got involved, when Mike started putting this together, about one event. There are 2 events in town. Most of the candidates throughout the process asked why we couldn't do a single event. And then we got feedback in the survey that people would like to have 1 event versus 2. We did try to get 1 event, and maybe Mike, you can speak more to that. That some of that was a bit before me, but it wasn't. There wasn't enough ability to pull that together at the time at which it came up. I do want to thank the select board for bringing this forward. It allowed me the opportunity to be part of it, to moderate the event. And for Mike King, thank you for being a great member on the committee, but also a great leader as you helped us bring this to life. Mike, you may have some other thoughts, but I'll turn it back to you, Chair Gallo.
Yeah, Mike, appreciate that. Yeah, and again, we can. I'm interested to hear what Mike King had to say too. I also did hear, and we can get into this as needed. Two events to some of the candidates. They'd rather see 1. I'd rather see 1 event. There was conversation between us and the other I think the other group that held their own events. We tried. We had a meeting. We tried to collaborate. We just couldn't pull it off this year. We couldn't come to terms. But I know our group, or from my perspective anyway, I don't want to speak for the select board, but my perspective, and I don't want to speak for your group either, Mr. McKnight and Mr. King, but I'm very open to having that conversation if it's still, an option. So Mike King, before I turn it over to the select board members that might be able to chime in on, comments that they have. I know a lot of us went to at least one of the events, if not both events. I'm going to ask the select board members to weigh in, and obviously give us constructive criticism. I know I will. It's the only way we get better. Mike King, do you have anything to add before I do that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So I just want to say that I believe the candidates forum was a success in meeting the select board's goal of fostering civic engagement that I was charged with, and that there was good attendance for a first-time event over at the SWEB meeting room over at the Fisk Library. We have received positive feedback, and it has been noted that 1 event is the preference from a candidate's perspective. And I would just like to thank Mike McKnight, Chris Plum, Lauren White, and Amanda Vassapolo for their efforts in making the candidates forum happen.
And I would like to second that. I think Mike McKnight, I'd like to add Mike King to the mix of people I want to say thank you to. Chris Flum and Lauren White all did a fantastic job for this event. So great job. We appreciate it. With that being said, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to start with Selectman Lamoth and see if you have any comments or things to add, Roy.
Mike, I attended that meeting. It was a very comfortable environment for both the participants and the people that were sitting in the seats. I have one suggestion, maybe a lightning round when there's multiple candidates for a particular position. Just a quick question with a yes, no, or a 1-line answer so you can see the difference between them. It's hard to determine what the differences are or how they would do things differently. And so, when you give them the latitude for 3 to 5 questions and they can ramble, I'm just saying, how do I know what the difference between them is? So defining that somehow next time around might help. That's all.
Thank
All
you.
right, great feedback. Selectman Harrington.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Unfortunately, I was sick. I was unable to attend, but I have had numerous people reach out to me that thought what they said. They watched it on Cable 8. They did not attend. They also mentioned the fact that they prefer to see one event, but they were they were very impressed with the responses from the candidates, and they look forward to next year's.
Great. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. So I did attend both candidates' forums. I think they both had about the same amount of people in attendance. I think it's valuable that we have this just so we can get the information out. Hopefully in the future, I'd like to see more people attend. I think it's important, but maybe we can do a better job messaging as far as getting people out to attend these events.
Yep. I think we can always try to do better there, Jim. It's definitely, as any event that we have, it's look at town meeting. It's tough to get people out unless there's a really hot button issue, right? In a really heated, contested race. But you're right. We need to do a better job. We need to try. That's what this board does. We never take what we're doing as good enough. We always strive. So I appreciate the feedback, and I think that's great. And last but not least, Selectwoman Rouse, you have a very interesting perspective on this, not only as a select board member, but as a candidate who I believe participated in both events. So I'm very interested to hear your perspective. Don't hold back. Be rough on the town event, whatever you need to do, just so we can, do what we need to do to get better. But the floor is yours, Selectwoman Rouse.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I want to thank you, Mike McKnight, Laura, Chris, Mike King, and Amanda for the event. It was from the moment I walked in, it felt very professional. It presented that way. The room created an intimacy. So when I was answering questions, I felt like I was directly talking to the people that were there. It didn't feel so big and open. It created a little bit of warmth. So when I was offered the opportunity to give my perspective and answer questions, I really felt like I was connecting with the people who were there. So the setup was excellent, even from, Amanda timing our answers so that we wouldn't ramble on. That was being efficient. Our name tags, the tags in front of us when we sat at the table. It all created a very professional event to myself as a candidate. I also liked, it was very different, and I love this. I loved the picking out of the hat or bowl where Chris would pick out who would speak next. I thought that was great. It created a little bit of excitement. It didn't feel so robotic. This person goes, right? It was fun, and I thought that was different, and it kept us engaged and on our feet as to if we were speaking next. So I thought that was excellent. Most importantly, in this experience, I felt that the questions were extremely relative to current events, what was happening with the candidates. There was an excellent understanding from the committee what the candidates were responsible for, and the questions that were asked reflected that. So the questions really addressed things that the candidates should know about, that were current, and that were relevant to that position. So I thought that was a huge plus within this forum. It also created the opportunity for consistency. This forum offered that consistency for all of the candidates to not only answer these questions that we had, but also all of us had the opportunity to do an introduction and give closing remarks. So that consistency from candidate to candidate was also recognized, and I felt was an excellent part of this process as well. I think that the communication, Mike, the individual communication, inviting us to this event, asking us if we had questions, checking in with us before the event to see, how we're feeling about it, if we were comfortable with what things were going to be like, was excellent. I had a question about room setup. You were quick to respond and answer that question. So I felt that openness was very much well received. It gave a a great level of comfort. I feel that all of us candidates put so much time into preparing for an event like this, and asking, being available to ease some of those, questions or concerns from you was excellent. So that was wonderful as well. So I think that that's my roundup. Again, I had the opportunity to attend both events, and those are my comments about this. And any questions that anyone has, I am happy to answer it.
Any questions for that's a new one. Any questions for Selectwoman Rouse from the board members about, including Mike McKnight, about, the candidate events this year? I think you did a great job summing it up, Michelle. And believe me, we hear you loud and clear. We hear all the candidates loud and clear. We'll try to re-engage with the other group and see if there's a path forward with one event. Like I alluded to before, unfortunately this year, we don't have to get into the nitty gritty. We just couldn't make that happen, unfortunately. But believe me, we that was the intent. So if it can happen, fantastic. And if it can happen, I can tell you the town will be doing this event again next year, based on the feedback that we've received individually and collectively. So I want to thank everyone for all your hard work with that. Mike King, Mike McKnight, again, Chris Flum. And if I probably messed that up, I apologize. Tell him I'm sorry. His name. And then
right.
Lauren White, a fantastic job as well. Okay. So anything else from Mr. McKnight before we let him go?
No, thank you. Thank you for the support, and I'm glad it turned out well. We've got some things to document for next year, and appreciate being part of it. So, thank you, Chair Gallo, Vice Chair Rouse, and board members, and Mike King. Appreciate the partnership we had. We had a lot of conversations over the last 3 or 4 months. So nice to be working with you.
All right, great. Thanks, Mr. McKnight. Feel free to hang on for the rest of our amazing meeting. But if you, if you want to go watch, I don't even know if there's any games on tonight. But this is way more fun anyway. So with that being said, we're going to move on. We still have a lot of business. We're going to go back to old business at this time. And I think everyone will remember we started a discussion regarding this housing production plan steering committee at our last select board meeting. We interviewed 3 candidates at that last meeting. We interviewed a gentleman by the name of Craig Garcia. We interviewed Crystal Burrows, and we interviewed another gentleman by the name of Michael Johns. I asked everyone to take notes because we would be coming back or asking you to refer to those notes for this meeting. We have 3 more candidates that we're going to interview this evening. We have, in no specific order, we have Amy Jones, Rebecca Zittamore, and David Plum. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to start with Amy Jones. We're going to ask you to unmute Amy. I'd like you to give us just a quick introduction, who you are, what you're doing here in Wrentham, and why you think you'd be a good fit for the committee. And then I'll turn it over to my fellow board members to ask follow-up questions. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming out, putting yourself out there, and applying for this committee.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Gallo. My name is Amy Jones, and I have made Wrentham my home for 11 years. I live here with my husband and 3 children, and my last child will be graduating from King Philip in a matter of about 6 weeks. So we have loved Wrentham and very happy to be living here. My background is I am a physical therapist, and one of the aspects of my job as a physical therapist has been to help individuals assess their home living situation, make sure that they have a safe environment and, a home where they can be safe and hopefully independent, but, an actual home versus even just a house, some place of security. And so this is something that I'm very passionate about housing for every member of our community, whether it be elderly, disabled, young people, families, etc. One of the things that really attracted our family to Wrentham, besides the small town and the excellent schools is that we were very impressed with how Wrentham as a community had approached planning and zoning and really seemed to have a vision in place for a long period of time to make the town work very well together, as far as open land, but also, housing and community space, as was talked about, like the sweat fund. So housing and safe environments are a passion of mine. And I would like to give back to the town. And that's one of the reasons that I am applying for this position. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Amy. I appreciate the introduction. I don't want to steal anyone's thunder here, so I'm gonna open it up to the board to ask some questions, starting with Selectman Lamoth.
Hi, Amy. Thank you for applying. This is a new program that we're putting together, Housing Plan Steering Committee. I will be part and parcel to it. The learning curve that we have for this role and roles will be steep, I believe. We also have the person that was leading this is now found another job. So there's a lot of learning curves. How willing are you to, understand planning, zoning, those types of laws and environments? How much time can you put into this?
As far as number of hours, I don't know. I couldn't give you an actual number. It's something that I'm currently not working full time. So I do have some time, I do have a considerable amount of time to put towards it. It's something that I have always been very interested in. And I do find very, very interesting, and I'm a big puzzle solver and researcher. So it's something that I am willing to put the effort towards, and it's something that I do feel is very important for the town, and continued prosperity of it.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Amy, in your bio, it says that you have a vision for planning to enable Wrentham to continue in a good path. If you could just give a quick summary of what your vision might be and what you would do to enact it.
So one of the things, the previous town we lived in was North Attleboro. And one of the things that I see that Wrentham does better than, say, North Attleboro, not to throw a town underneath the bus, but one of the visions that I like the Wrentham has done, and I would like to continue, seems to be able to keep a good division between residential, commercial, and green spaces, where they're not intermixed, where you end up with somebody who has, a Walmart in their backyard, or, something like that. I think that I have been to regular town meetings with, this voting on the CPA and other aspects of the town planning. And I think the approach that Wrentham has taken in the past is something that I think it has been great as far as keeping the commercial aspects of the town near the highways. And I also, with the voting of the mixed use things, mixed use downtown, to bring housing and some small businesses downtown. I think that it's been done very well, and it's something that I would like to see continue and would like to be a part of.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sorry about that. Great job. We did Harrington, Lamoth, Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Amy, not knowing probably the other candidates, but if you could just try to separate yourself from the other candidates, what makes you a better candidate than them?
I don't know any of the other candidates, but I would like to think that I am a good candidate because of the fact that I have lived in multiple different towns that, like I said, have not necessarily had great planning when it comes to housing. And because I have had that experience, and because also, like I said, I've worked with a lot of patients and making sure that they also have safe housing, that I feel like I could have a little bit of a unique background with that.
Okay, thank you. No more questions, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Amy, very nice to meet you, and I'm glad that you've applied for this position. In your introduction, you talked about, your position, looking for different housing needs for your patients, and you did say creating housing for everyone. That's a little bit of your vision. I'd like to understand that in how you see that balancing with the needs of the town that you also talk about. Like what would be your plan for that too? Because it seems to be, trying to understand what your thoughts are there.
I guess I mean is that I feel that every individual, creating housing for everybody, meaning when I was working with, when I'm working with a patient population, I need to make sure a patient has a safe home to go home to. And as far as creating housing for everybody and keeping, Wrentham kind of, it's still a small town. I think that if housing is well planned, with controlled growth, and also, like I said, I know that a few years ago, there was the approval for the zoning downtown behind where Sweat Park is, and the Sunoco station. Forget what the name of that project was. I think projects like that are a great way to expand housing in Wrentham to different populations who can't necessarily afford a home on a 1 acre lot. Whether it be seniors, young professionals, my children when they come back to town. I think there's creative ways to do that to maintain the integrity of the town while also creating different housing options within the town.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No further questions, Mr. Chair.
Great answers. Thank you, Amy. So everyone went at this time. Amy, we're going to put you on hold and we're going to go to the next candidate. In no order, the next candidate is Rebecca Zittamore. Rebecca, when you have an opportunity, if you could unmute and address us. I know I can see you're working on it. Take your time.
Can you hear me?
I can. How are you today?
Good evening.
Good to see you, Mrs. Zittamore. Welcome to our meeting. It's great to see you. I would ask you to please introduce yourself to the board. Give us a quick summary of who you are and what you do. How long you've been in Wrentham. Maybe some of your relevant experience and why you think you'd be a good candidate for us on this committee, and then I'll turn it over to the other board members.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the opportunity to all of you. I am a 32-year resident of Wrentham, so I've seen a lot in my 32 years being here. And I think that the background that I bring is just a residential knowledge of how the real estate market and how the housing market has changed over the years, as well as being, as you all know, pretty involved in the town commissions, committees, and steering committees in the past. So I think that probably the two most relevant commissions or committees that I've worked on that have to do with housing are the Master Plan Steering Committee, the Vision of Tomorrow for 2030, which did have a very large residential housing section to it, and I was very active in that commission. Previous to that, I had been very involved in zoning for Village A and Village B. And that taught me a lot about zoning, about town planning. It taught me about infrastructure limitations. So I got a very good background in all of the ways that those pieces have to work together in the master plan and working on that master plan steering committee. Currently, I'm the chair of the Economic Development Commission. I think that you all know that. And I believe that housing and economic development go hand in hand. I think that it's important to make sure that there is a consistency between those, making sure that the goals of housing support the economic development and vice versa. So I think all of the infrastructure plans that go along with that, along with the zoning and the other planning board tasks go hand in hand with the housing development, because we need everything to kind of work together simultaneously. Somebody brought up in the last interview that there is a steep learning curve. I do think that I have zoning experience. I have planning board experience from listening to many meetings with Mr. McKnight as the chair. And several of the previous members that had a vast wealth of knowledge, including Mr. Skinner and other members of that board that were incredibly knowledgeable. And just listening to that over the years has really helped me understand zoning and planning a lot better. So I think I also grew up with a mother that's a real estate agent, and I have this love of housing, kind of real estate, and understanding what's going on in the market. So that's just my personal interest. Obviously I'm on the Disability Commission, so I am looking at housing and special access for other folks with disabilities and other challenges in town.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Appreciate that. I'm going to turn it over to the other board members to ask any questions, starting with Selectman Lamothe. And don't let him scare you. We're not going to make you work 40 hours a week.
Rebecca, I may be on the board and I may have lived in Wrentham for 42 years.
Oh,
but by golly, you have such a great resume and active involvement in this town.
Thank
you.
you.
By far exceed anything I could ever have offered or will ever offer. So I have no questions. God bless you and thank you for all your service.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nice to see you, Becca. That's, appreciate obviously all you do and all the committees that you're on and the things that you've been involved with and will continue to be involved with. Where do you see yourself regarding, I don't want to use the term affordable, but mixed use housing and, maybe smaller home development type of thing, ADUs?
Well, I think that, I go to the previous candidates' points, which I do agree with. The development was very clear, and what the Wrentham residents wanted was development in downtown. So I support the mixed use and the, residential diversity downtown. And over in, perhaps the Route 1 corridor also with mixed use development there. I do also appreciate that folks, want to, keep Wrentham rural in a lot of ways. So I do think that mixed use can be targeted or in the mixed residential use, whether it be for low income or disabled, can be targeted to areas that could benefit them to be able to walk and shop and live and do things within the walking distance of town. I think that's very important. And ADUs, I think, we haven't as far as I know from Rachel, working with Rachel, we haven't seen a lot of ADU building yet in the town. But I do think that does open up the opportunities for seniors to have an alternate living situation, or bring younger folks to town that would be able to afford a living situation. I do think that we don't have enough housing for younger folks that would like to stay in town.
Thank you.
Good questions, good answers. And last but not least, oh no, two more. Did Anderson, sorry, Jimmy, apologize.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. So first of all, I've known Rebecca for a number of years. She's been on a lot of commissions and committees in town. She's got a great working knowledge what the town of Wrentham needs, and her introduction and her knowledge is just vast. So I've got no further questions.
Great.
Thank you.
Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Rebecca, good to see you, and thank you for providing such a great introduction, and again, all of your experiences, time, and services to the town. You certainly have the tenure here, right, with 32 years. I'd love to hear your perspective on, you know, as you look to the next 5, 10, 15 years, what's your vision and how you see housing in Wrentham when we're seeing so many demands for increased housing and trying to provide housing for all? What's your vision on where you'd like to see Wrentham stand in that area?
Well, I think we have to look at Wrentham's needs, first of all. I think that Wrentham's needs are our number one priority. And while there may be a lot of pressure, or there might be outside influences that want us to build a lot of housing. I'm not saying that a lot of housing is a bad thing in certain communities. Our community does have limitations, and mostly those limitations from over the years of my experience are infrastructural limitations too. I mean, we have a lack of water in West Wrentham, which we know we're trying to solve, but that's also an $8 to $9 million price tag for all of us. Mm-hmm. We have lack of infrastructure by the lakes. We have a downtown where anybody can go to the gavel and know we have a lack of infrastructure on a Saturday night by the smell that's down there. So I think we have to control growth and not overburden the town, as well as being mindful of what the residents have asked for in our master plan, and controlled growth, which again, the first candidate had mentioned as well. I think that's probably our number one and most important priority. I would like to see housing for all. I just don't know that we can do that right away. If we are able to get state money, if we are able to figure out some of our infrastructure limitations, then I think that will help us sustain growth through 2030 and beyond.
Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're
no
welcome.
further questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great answers, great questions. Last but certainly not least, Becca, we're going to have you go on pause for a second here. And last but certainly not least, we're going to have David Plum. David, just like I did with everybody else, I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, as well as throwing your hat in the ring here. Please give us just a quick intro of who you are. Looks like you're another long-term resident, 29 years. Looks like you're a retired actuary, so another smart guy we have with us. A lot of smart men and women, way smarter than me, on this call this evening. So very nice to have you, David. Give us a quick little intro, and I'll pass it over to the board members for follow-up questions.
Thanks, Chris. I first want to say that I think that Amy and Rebecca will be perfect for this committee. Absolutely perfect. I don't have the same kind of background that they have in housing, but as an actuary, I was in charge of the long-term care product development and pricing for the long-term care line of business at John Hancock. And then unfortunately, I was also in charge of explaining to the states why we needed to change our rates on our enforced policies and getting their approval for billions of dollars worth of revenue for the company. After I retired about 6 years ago, I started volunteering for the Red Cross. Mostly that's now, I started off with feeding at the food bank, but I've sort of transitioned to sheltering and home fires, responding to home fires in the middle of the night. And gone through 4 different sheltering deployments so far. And I know that this committee isn't all about affordable housing, but I'm sure that's a big part of it. And I know that's been a really big growing problem in basically almost all the whole country, but certainly in Massachusetts. I'm not sure if it's a big problem in Boston or in Wrentham or not, but I know in Massachusetts it is. And I think that I'd be very interested in finding out what the barriers are to building enough affordable housing. And I think that would involve discussions with builders, among other people, but certainly having builders in the room on that, they would probably be able to explain why the cost of housing is so high, or why more housing isn't being built. And other than that, yeah, 29 years in Wrentham, live in West Wrentham and love it here. Both kids graduated from King Philip High. It's a great city. And I just wouldn't want to be available if there was ever a need for the town and anything that I can help out with.
Appreciate that, Dave. And appreciate the kind words about Becca and Amy. I'm not suggesting one way or the other, but if it's not this committee, I would strongly encourage you to get involved because you're a wealth of knowledge and we could use you in many areas in town.
Thank you.
So yeah, thanks for being here with us. I'm going to pass it over to Selectman Lamothe.
Well, just going to echo what you just said, Chairman. There are a number of positions that will be opening up in June and being posted. And please, if you don't get this position, all of you, please take a look at what's available. We need good people, and you are all good people. Again, same type of question. It appears you're retired. That's great. You have plenty of time. This is going to require a great learning curve, probably some reading and some bedtime books on policy, procedures, and planning for our town. I just want to know if you're really up for that.
Yeah, 10 years ago, I would say absolutely not. But after being retired for 6 years, yeah, I got the time.
Okay. And desire.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Chair, the floors go on to
Thank you, Selectman Lamothe. Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, similar question. Obviously your resume is, impressive. No question about that. But a similar question: what would your vision be for housing, mixed use, for the town?
Yeah, I'm not an expert, and I don't have the background that both Amy and Rebecca have in terms of the issues for housing in Wrentham. But I think identifying what the issues are, I don't even know what the issues are, to be honest with you. I would just ask to put my head in the ring, but I think finding out what the issues are and then having groups of smart people working together to solve them, including all stakeholders like residents and builders. And I'm sure there's a lot more, people obviously in the town council, people who are, coming up with the zoning laws and all that kind of stuff. That'd be a solution.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Oh, you're all set. Okay. Selectman Anderson.
So, David, I want to thank you for stepping up, applying for this position. I appreciate people that are willing to spend time in the town of Wrentham. But I've got no specific questions for you, so good luck tonight.
Okay, thank you.
And Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very nice to meet you, David. Similar to what I asked Becca in terms of being here for 29 years, what do you see your vision for the housing market in Wrentham for like the next 5, 15, 20 years? Challenges or your vision associated with that?
Yeah, I don't think I can really articulate a vision on that.
Okay.
But like I said before, that I think we have a lot of smart people in this town, and we should be able to figure out any problems that we encounter.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, David. So at this time, I think we've interviewed all the candidates. We've interviewed from this evening, Amy Jones, Becca Zittamore, David Plum, and then from last time, we interviewed Craig Garcia, Crystal Burrows, and Michael Johns. Again, I'm seeing a theme here of highly qualified people, whether they're policy experts or not, David. I don't care. You're a very intelligent individual, and it's very clear to us that that's the case. So, like my select board member said, if it's not this committee, I strongly encourage you to get involved. Because I think you'd be a wealth of knowledge and information, and one of those smart people that get into a room and figure stuff out.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, and it's the truth. So with that being said, our board has a difficult task ahead of us. Mike King, can you confirm that our job this evening is to pick 3 of these amazing 6 candidates?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman. And when you choose to do so, I recommend moving to tab number 11 and notifying the public that you're changing agenda items.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, that's why I have you here, Mike. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna move per our town manager's request. I think we're done with the current interview tab, which is tab number 10. Now that we finished that public, we're gonna move to tab number 11, and we're gonna go to the appointment section of this. And as I started to say, we have these eligible candidates: Amy Jones, Michael Johns, Becca Zittamore, Crystal Burrows, David Plum, Craig Garcia, and we need to make 1, 2, 3 separate motions. Yes, he's shaking his head. Yes, 3 separate motions. I'd like to ask my fellow board members if anyone would like to start with a motion.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Through you, we select 3, but is there any room on this committee for associate members?
Let's ask Michael King. Great question.
The committee was not set up with associate members, but these will be public meetings that can be attended.
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Chair?
Yeah, and I have no issue if you want to give us what you're thinking for 3, and then we'll do 3 separate, just so the board has an understanding, and then we'll do 3 separate motions.
So Mr. Chair, just so I get this right, do you want me to give you my 3 candidates, or do one at a time?
Mike, what do you recommend? Should we just do one at a time, or have him tell us what he's thinking for 3, and then we can discuss as needed, and then he can do his 3 separate motions?
I would recommend that each motion be done separately, but you can have a general discussion of each member. If Selectman Anderson wants to put out the 3 that he's thinking about and get some feedback from other members, he can.
I'm okay with that. Go right ahead, Jim.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, so based on tonight's interviews and our interviews 2 weeks ago, I would make a recommendation for Rebecca Zittamore, Amy Jones, and Craig Garcia.
Okay, I think that's a very fair recommendations. What you want? Let's discuss it as a board. See if anyone has any comment on those before we do formal motions. I would agree with you. I think those are 3 fantastic recommendations. Roy, Selectman Lamoth, raising your hand.
In agreement on Rebecca Zittamore, Craig Garcia, but I like Mike Johns.
Okay. Anyone else have any feedback or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I have Craig Garcia, Crystal Burrows, and Amy Jones.
Okay. Selectwoman Rouse, do you have any feedback before I go to the specific motions?
First of all, very difficult process.
Yes.
6 excellent candidates.
Yes.
Really focused on their perspectives on understanding Wrentham, the housing market, their visions, how they see this working in their position. For me, Craig Garcia, Rebecca Zittamore, and Amy Jones.
Okay, so it's similar to Anderson. I think. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead then. And I agree with everybody. But my personal view is, especially based on Dave Plum's recommendation, I would agree that and he's fantastic, by the way. But I would agree personally. I think that Becca Zittamore, Amy Jones, and Craig Garcia would represent the town very, very well. So those would be my three candidates as well. So it sounds like we're close. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Selectman Anderson to start with his motions, and we'll see if the board we can get we can get a majority on each one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'd like to make a motion to appoint Rebecca Zittamore to the Housing Production Plan Steering Committee for a term effective immediately, expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second.
I'll second that.
All right, so there was a motion made by Selectman Anderson, a second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Gallo's a yes. Selectman Lamoth?
Yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Yes.
Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 5-0. Becca Zittamore, you're appointed to the Housing Production Plan Steering Committee for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2027. You need to get sworn in, right, Mike? Okay, get sworn in with Town Clerk Ann Fisk.
Thank
All
you.
right, you're very welcome, Becca. Thank you. All right, motion number 2, Selectman Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Motion to appoint Craig Garcia to the Housing Production Plan Steering Committee for a term effective immediately, expiring June 30th, 2027.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? We'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Please let Craig know he needs to get sworn in, Mr. King, if that's okay.
We will reach out and notify him, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And last but not least, motion number 3, Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Motion to appoint Amy Jones to the Housing Production Plan Steering Committee for a term effective immediately, expiring June 30th, 2027.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth?
Let's go for it. Yes.
And Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. I want to thank all of my select board members. I want to thank all the applicants. We really did have 6 incredible candidates. Thank you so much. Thank you for your involvement and love for our town. We'll make sure this group of people keeps Wrentham beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, let's move on. We still have a lot to go. So at this time, we're going to go into tab number 12. So tab number 12, we have the town meeting warrant. We're going to get an update on the town meeting warrant. We have documentation in our town meeting packet, presentation from Planning Board Chair Tom Maloney. So Tom is with us this evening to discuss the Planning Board warrant articles. We thought it'd be helpful to have him do a high-level presentation for us this evening and then open it up for questions. Mr. Maloney, are you here, sir? Good to see you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy to be with you.
All right, happy to have you. So could you please give the board a high-level update and overview of the Planning Board sponsored articles? We're sharing the screen and we're bringing up a presentation for you right now.
Thank you, Chairman Gallo, and on behalf of the Planning Board, we do appreciate the invitation to talk with you tonight about the 4 articles that'll be on the upcoming warrant, all of which were endorsed unanimously by the Planning Board in our public hearing of April 1st, which was a continuation of a public hearing that began on March 4th. So we met and discussed these matters, these articles twice, and voted unanimously to endorse all 4 of them. I do see Chuck Woodhams, I think, is on with us tonight as well. And I was happy to see my former colleague, Mr. McKnight here. He gave a great presentation. So But anyway, thank you very much. So what we're doing here, and Amanda, thank you very much for helping out with this presentation. What we're going to look at here, Mr. Chairman, is the presentation, at least a draft of the presentation we plan to give at town meeting. We might move a few things around, but this is pretty much what you're going to see. We'll be talking about on the agenda before town meeting, zoning amendments 101, the Route 1 district, and the ADU bylaw, and the retail business B1 and B2 strategy. So the 4 articles, let's see here. Go ahead, Amanda. Well, there's a little bit here on zoning amendments 101. Most of you all probably know most of this material anyway. So if you have any questions about what you're seeing here, by all means ask me, but if not, we'll move on to the actual proposals. Okay, we know that the voting threshold and zoning amendments is 2/3, except where the proposals pertain to housing, in which case it's a simple majority. All right, thank you, Amanda. Article 19 on the warrant deals with the addition of a certain commercial use to 2 districts. The districts are C1N and C1S. And what those refer to, 2 districts that lie along Route 1. Okay, and the N is north and the S is south, and the cutoff line is just north of Thurston Street. So these zones already exist and have existed for a while. But we discovered we had an owner come before us who owns a piece of land in C1N, and he would like to build and operate a self-service storage facility. And we discovered in looking over the usage chart, which is very important in zoning, that there is no self-service storage facility mentioned or allowed in either of those 2 districts. There are other kinds of warehouse uses, but not specifically the kind where you bring your stuff in and put it into an empty space. So we are going to ask town meeting to add that usage, self-service storage facility, to zones C1N and C1S. I might add also that the self-service storage, I have a real hard time saying it, Chris, self-service storage facility is a low impact use. You know, if you've seen these things on the highway, there's one in Foxborough, north of the stadium, and there's one in Plainville. You don't see many cars going in there. I mean, the whole purpose of these things is for you to take all the stuff out of your house, put it in there, and never go back. So that's what that is. So it's a low impact usage. We think it's wise to add that usage to the table for those 2 zones. The Article 20 deals with sort of tidying up the accessory dwelling unit bylaw, I guess, or bringing the language in our bylaw, which we passed last year, into conformity with the state. As you know, zoning bylaws and zoning bylaw amendments have to be reviewed by the Attorney General. In this case, the AG basically approved our amended accessory dwelling unit bylaw revision, but did suggest, and Mike King, perhaps you can correct me on the verb I'm saying suggested. It could be required or commanded. I'm not sure. The AG wants us to change the language a little bit, and we're going to bring that revised language to town meeting. A couple of things in particular here. In our existing bylaw, we suggest that accessory dwelling units can only be added to single-family properties. They can, in fact, be added to 1, 2, and 3 unit properties. That's how the state wants it to be. So we've made that change. And there is some changes pertaining to pre-existing non-conforming uses, primarily dealing with the shifting of authority, more of the authority from the volunteer boards to the property owners, and bringing the ZBA into the picture for the purpose of approval rather than a special permit. And that's number 20. Numbers 21 and 22, there are a lot of slides here on this. Let's see. I'll just give you a quick overview here, what we're doing. We have a property owner on South Street, okay? The area we're going to be in, I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. We're proposing to change the zoning on South Street from Wampum Corner down to Route 495 on the westerly side. That is to say, on the right as you head toward the outlets. Okay, it's all currently zoned R43. We are proposing to change the strip between Wampum Corner down about a half to 2/3 of the way to the highway from R43 to B1, Business 1, and the remainder from that boundary line down to Route 495 to B2, which is a slightly heavier business usage. All right, and so we have quite a few slides here. Mike, can you tell me how much of this you want me to go through? I'm happy to take our time here. You guys have been out here for 2 hours, but my time is yours here, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll answer that, Tom.
Okay.
I would say I think a high level summary of it is perfect. And then when you open it up for questions and answers, if the board has specific questions they want to dive a little deeper on, our board's not shy. They'll definitely do that.
Okay, very good. And you have the language, I'm sure, somewhere for these two amendments, 21 and 22. Maybe if we can go to number 8, what's not changing? You see some of the description of B1 and B2 zoning. It will allow for business usages along that strip of road where currently you have completely residential. We do have one property owner down, if you look at that sort of shrimp bisque colored dark pink down there, sort of adjacent to the purple, that's going to be the B2 zone. And we have a property owner indicated by the 3 black asterisks of a 10-acre parcel who does have an idea for a business that he wants to include. And it's a sort of he outfits containers, like truck containers, and then transports them to a site for usage for whatever use his client wants to make of it. One local or very nearby usage is down at an unlikely story, where they've used one of these containers. They've made one of them into what's going to be a beer garden down there. So, and then at the front of the property, he wants to have light retail, for example, a Panera Bread or a Dunkin' Donuts. And so in order to accommodate there, we are going to add a couple of uses to the usage table there in the B2 zone. So that's where you see the pink, the darker pink. And then as we move up, that's it, targeted rezoning here on option 1. We considered 2 options. One is just the B2 and the other is B2 plus B1. And in the end, we decided to break them out into 2 separate articles. But the B2, you can see what we're trying to do here. We're adding light manufacturing, fast food restaurant, and takeout restaurant to the usage chart of B2. And that zone now will be B2 rather than R43. Is it confusing enough, Mr. Chairman? I can make it more so if you like.
No, listen, I love this stuff. So not confusing. I think you're doing a great job. I would just say let's keep doing it. You're doing a great job, but I think it's a great presentation thus far, Tom. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. So that's fine, Amanda. Keep going. That's fine. What this would allow under B2 with requested additions, we've focused modernization with a limited geographic expansion, additional flexibility at select locations, moderate scale commercial activity. It's a maximum of 25,000 gross floor area in any of the buildings. There are setback requirements of 100 feet in a B2 zone rather than 50 feet in B1. There is an increased traffic potential, and important point here, any proposal, any application is subject to special permit and site plan review standards exercised by the planning board. The next slide will show you the schematic and an artist's rendering of the proposed business that owner to whom I referred would like to put, considering applying to be put down in the B2 zone. So you see at the front, it's a couple of buildings that might hold a cleaner or a small restaurant. And in the back, though, is where his operating facility for his container business will be.
Sounds good.
All right. And then in option two, what we decided to do is to take a look at the rest of that corridor. You can see in the lighter pink now, once we get beyond the black asterisks, okay, right there, you see we're moving up now toward Wampum Corner. And you can see at the top of the map, the B1 up there at the top. You see that? That's already zoned B1 up there with the CVS and the Commonwealth barbecue. And then between that, and then right after that, you come down with the light pink. It's currently zoned residential. We are proposing to change the zoning to B1, a lighter usage than B2. Okay, you can see that the maximum gross floor area for a building in B1 is 15,000 square feet. The maximum height is 2.5 stories. The residential buffer is 50 feet. And it tends to draw smaller businesses. The lots that are already there are kind of small. Some are narrow. It's really hilly and rocky. We don't know how much development we're going to get there, but we would like to give those people, the owners of those properties, the opportunity to do something else with them besides residential. So for the owners of properties, it's a second use. They are grandfathered in currently at residential, but they may, if they wish, do something else.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, Amanda, we'll move on to the next one. Let's go to the one right after this one, Amanda, if you don't mind. There's a lot of words on that. There we go. 2 different scales of business between B1 and B2. Okay, retail business neighborhood scale is B1. Retail business community scale is B2. B2 is a little heavier. That's why we're doing it down closer to Route 495. What you have down there now is just 3 or 4 homes that have probably not been lived in for decades. You're never going to get any more residential development down there because when the zoning bylaw was created, there was no interstate highway, but there is now. And it's very unlikely you would ever get residential. If that were the case, you would have had it by now. So we're converting the usage from that property, which by the way includes some state-owned property right in the elbow of the highway. We're converting it all to B2. B1 is from the boundary of the B2 zone all the way up to Wampum Corridor, where it will join the existing B1 in the corner. And you can see examples of the types of businesses you might expect in B1 versus B2. Yeah, that's okay, Amanda. We can keep going. Thank you. The planning rationale, so coming out of the master plan, you can see some of these are a little small, but some of the goals we have here to support walking and biking and leverage the public and private infrastructure improvements. And we had these are certain considerations that we had to take into account when we held our public hearing. What we decided to do, Mr. Chairman, just to get back to the beginning of the conversation, we decided to offer town meeting 2 rezoning proposals. We considered saying, look, let's do this whole thing is B2, or let's do one article with B2 and here and B1 there. And in the end, and it was Mr. Woodham's idea, so why don't we break it into 2 articles? Here's where the B2 would be, yes or no. Here's where the B1 would be, yes or no. The next slide, we see some FAQs. I call your attention to the first one, Mr. Chairman. Does rezoning force me to change my property use? No, it does not force you to do that. Will this increase my taxes? No. Does rezoning force me to change my property? No.
Those are great.
Okay, and there's a list of the parcels that'll be available too at town meeting. Just cover all the bases.
Fantastic. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for is that okay? So that is the end of the presentation.
That's the end of the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
So I just want to thank you and the whole planning board. You guys do a great job. We're really lucky to have you. You're the front lines of keeping Wrentham at that incremental growth that everyone or most of the residents want. Keep Wrentham beautiful the way we all love it. Thank you for that. And we also understand that, we do need development unless all of us want our taxes to continue to go up. So I think you and the board are doing a fantastic job. Please make sure the board knows that. The only and that was a great presentation, by the way, Chairman Maloney. The only question I have before I open it up to the board members is, I agree with everything that you presented tonight. I think it's a great idea. Why are we only doing it on one side of the road? Why wouldn't we kind of mirror that on the other side of the road as well?
That's a great question. The other side of that road, if you drive down there tomorrow, if you get a chance, it's all residential. You've got the
Yeah.
Wampanoag condos there. You've also got a big development going on now where the developer, the new owner, cut out the mountain, and they're dirt farming at the moment, and they're planning to do. They're planning some sort of a proposal, which at the moment is planned to be residential. We kind of like that idea anyway. So it's a more established and rooted residential strip along there. Not to say someday we don't do the same thing on the other side, but we kind of like it the way it is the best answer I can give you, sir.
No, it makes sense. I get it. All right. Thanks for that, Mr. Chairman. This time we're going to open it up to the board, see if anyone has any questions or comments, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tom, thank you for that thoughtful and informative presentation. It contains some great information. No further questions at this time.
Selectman Anderson?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Tom, good to see you tonight. Just a quick question, like prior to town meeting, how are you getting this information out to the public?
I'll work with Mr. King on that in the next few weeks. I mean, we have had public hearings per the statute. We'll have to talk about the media on site in the next couple of weeks, but we do want to be ready. I mean, we're coming here to ask for your support on these, of course. That's one thing we're doing, and your meetings are watched by more than any other board. So, but more to come on that, if that's okay, sir.
Yeah, I just know from experience that with at town meeting, especially with zoning changes, if people haven't seen it ahead of time, they tend to not want to vote that way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go.
Appreciate it.
Good feedback, Selectman Anderson. So let's make sure we get that out. Great. Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Tom. Nice to see you. Is that presentation available? Did you email that to us through you, Mr. Chair?
I would refer that to Mr. King.
In the packet.
It is in your packet.
The whole presentation was in it?
In the revised.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, great. Thank you. Because I'd like to look at it more carefully.
Some nice, easy reading before bed tonight, Bill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Selectman Lamoth.
Hey, Tom, thank you for the presentation. How many acres are involved in B1 and B2?
Well, I'm not sure. We'll have to calculate it. I can tell you that the parcel that is under consideration, or where we have an applicant who's ready to come forward, is about 10.3 acres, where those black asterisks are. But it's that entire strip of road, and it goes back 150 to 200 feet.
So it's maybe 3-4 times that, right, in total?
Yep. Yeah, probably more than 3 or 4 times. Yes.
Yeah, I'd say well more than 3 or 4 times that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Next question might be, does our town manager have a potential tax benefit that the town may gain from this over the long term that he could use to influence the voters?
I'll refer that, Mr. Chairman, Mr. King.
Mr. King.
So to answer the question, the town utilizes a split tax rate. So bringing in additional commercial growth with limited impact on town services is a benefit to the taxpayer.
But we couldn't give the taxpayers some number how it might improve our tax collections.
I cannot, because unless we have an approved project that we know a lot of the credentials and valuation on what that would be, which will go before the Board of Assessors. So we're well ahead of what that would look like.
Yeah. But we know it's a good thing.
But Roy, we know the commercial tax rate is, the current commercial tax rate is what, 13, what is it?
I'd have to pull it up, but it is significantly higher than the residential rate.
I want to say it's like 12 and 17 or something. So, and don't quote me on that. Let's get the exact number. So please don't anyone write that down, or Cable 8, don't quote me. But per Mike King's point, having a split tax rate is a substantial. And listen, we need to continue this diversified tax base. We always talk about slow incremental growth, especially that doesn't drain the services. These don't have kids going to the schools. These don't have, utilization of ambulances for the most part. It's not a lot of police and fire calls after hours. So there's just a significantly less drain on resources than strict residential.
So, Mr. Chairman, I can confirm the tax rates, 1167 residential, commercial 1689.
There you
So
go.
$5 difference.
$5 difference. So great question, Selectman Lamoth. Any further before I move on?
No, all set. Thank you.
Did everyone go? I'm going backwards and forwards. Yeah, I think all the board members had an opportunity to speak. So, Chairman Maloney, I just want to thank you again for a great presentation. I support this. I know, Mike, they're looking for support from the select board. Is that an individual perspective or as a board? And how would we do that? Vocally, how would we do that? Mike King.
Yeah, so at this point, the planning board submitted these articles to be on the warrant, right? And generally speaking, if it's a timely submittal, the select board would put forward an article on the warrant by the planning board. In terms of, the select board, you have the ability at town meeting to speak on behalf of any article, just as any other resident at town meeting.
Beautiful. So yeah, I can tell you from what I'm hearing, I don't want to speak for the board. I'm only one member, but I think these are, very good additions to the zoning, Mr. Maloney. So appreciate your time and we'll look forward to seeing those articles in the final warrant.
Thanks to all of you. We appreciate the invitation again, and we appreciate your support. And we'll see you on the floor. Is it June 1st, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Thank you. Moving on. Let's wrap this up. We have a discussion, tab 13. So you all will remember at the last meeting, we had a very robust presentation from our town manager, Mike King, on the budget. Very well done. Very detailed, highlighted the fiscal responsibility of the community, led by this board and town manager King and his staff. We wanted to put that back on the budget just as a follow-up tonight with a formal vote from this board of hopefully of approval on the May 6th meeting, if that's correct, Mr. King. Please confirm. We'll be looking for a vote on the May 6th meeting.
May 5th, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, May 5th. See, that's why I have you. May 5th meeting. So again, for now, we just wanted to put the budget back on the agenda to see if anyone had any follow-up questions. Mike, I know that myself, and Selectman Lamoth have a meeting later this week. I believe it's Thursday to discuss some budgetary questions. Besides that, can you update the board on any other questions you've received? Or I believe you had a meeting with FinCom last night, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So last evening, I met with the Finance Committee where the budget was well received and follow-up questions were addressed. So the Finance Committee, just for the edification of the Select Board, will continue its review of the budget on May 4th. And we'll hold a public hearing on the budget on May 18th, which is in accordance with the town charter. The Select Board, as we just referenced, is scheduled to adopt an FY27 budget at its next meeting on May 5th. As the charter requires that the Select Board adopt a budget within 30 days of the town manager's budget submittal, and the May 5th date meets that 30-day requirement.
Fantastic. Any additional questions for Town Manager King on the budget while we have him? Shaking heads, no? Okay, we're going to move on to the next topic. The next item is tab 14, public comment. Residents who wish to participate in public comment will be allotted 2 minutes to speak and must state their name and address. For the record, we ask that you also put your camera on if possible. At the start of comment, a time will be sent via message from Amanda Vazzapolo. It should be visible on the top of the screen, and an alarm will chime when time is up. This time we open it up for public comment, and we'll give it a few seconds, few minutes, well, few seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Next, we're going to go to tab 15, Town Manager Report. We turn it back over to you, Town Manager King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I do have a Sweat Park update. So there was a root treatment at Sweat Park recently that has been completed to help ensure that the sycamore trees remain healthy following the recent park renovations. Residents may have noticed some soil disruption around the trees as part of this work. We are currently planning on a follow-up treatment in the spring as recommended. Update on the Eversource project. So Eversource has begun work on Dedham Street. The area is currently reduced to 1 lane of traffic, and the work is anticipated throughout the summer with an estimated completion the week of September 7th. Residents should plan for possible delays. Want to note that the town of Wrentham has been redesignated by the state of Massachusetts as a housing choice community in recognition of the town's efforts to support housing production, including permitting new housing units over the past 5 years. This designation provides the town with access to the Housing Choice Grant Program and additional consideration in other participating state grant programs, such as the recently awarded Park Grant, which is supporting the pavilion at the Rice Complex. We recently had a retirement at the police department, Lieutenant Michael Robillard. He is going to be retiring on May 1st. A retirement send-off was held this past Friday in recognition of his 31 years of dedicated service to the police department. We wish him well in his retirement. And lastly, I just wanted to thank the Landscape Committee chaired by Selena Zambrowski, along with the students from the League School for their ongoing efforts to beautify the downtown area. Their recent work has included placing wood chip mulch in the downtown parking lot and cleaning up numerous mulch beds. They have contributed many hours on behalf of the Wrentham community, and just wanted to thank them. And that concludes my update, Mr. Chair.
Well said. Looks beautiful down there, and it's a lot of hard work. Anyone have any questions or comments for our town manager before I end this marathon meeting by turning it over to Selectman Anderson? No questions or comments. So before I turn it to Selectman Anderson, I will tell you all that I appreciate this board, appreciate this meeting. It was a long meeting. We try not to have these every so often, but sometimes it's out of our control. Appreciate everyone's willingness to just put the time in and do what's best for the town. So thank you all very much for another great meeting. And at this time, Selectman Anderson, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, good job, everybody, tonight. And with your permission, Mr. Chair, motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Okay, there's a motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we will do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Anderson.
Definitely yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Have a great night, everybody.
Night, night.
All.